Hey guys, and welcome to my discussion video for Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor, the second book in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. So overall, I did really enjoy this book, but when I finished it, my first thought was that it was not my favorite book out of the trilogy. I hadn't read the third one yet, obviously, but I could already tell that it was going to be my least favorite. But the more and more I thought about it, I realized that the reason I didn't like it was because Akiva and Karu weren't together. But although they weren't together, that doesn't mean that the rest of the story was bad necessarily. It was really cool to see Karu's separate point of view and Akiva's separate point of view, and all the POVs of there was Eliza, those like ear kind of girls, and of the different characters and what they were going through at the same time. So looking back now, I actually did really enjoy reading those different POVs because it gave you a perspective on the war as a whole rather than just Akiva and Karu's story. Because I mean, isn't that really what war and these big things are about? It's not just about one or two people, it affects everybody. So it was nice to see the perspectives of all the different aspects of the war that was going on. From the way that it ended, I could definitely tell that this book was like the calm before the storm. You could definitely feel the tension that something big was going to happen in the next book. It was like most second books in trilogies where the characters are trying to deal with the aftermath of whatever happened in the first book, and not too much happens, but it leads to the big war or the big rebellion or whatever that happens in the third book, kind of like, you know, the Hunger Games. So at the end of the first book, Daughter of Smoke and Bone, we learn that Akiva, out of his grief for Thiago killing Madrigal, was the one who was behind all of those burned handprints on all of the portals, and he was responsible for killing Brimstone and all of Karu's family, basically. So obviously she was really mad at him because he had killed her family. But at the same time, I was really hoping that she could somehow forgive him, because as you read, it became obvious that it was hard for them to be apart. And even though Karu had good reasoning to never want to speak to Akiva again, you could tell that she wanted to be near him and that she wanted to somehow try and forgive him, even though she had a really hard time doing it, which is completely understandable. But as I'm thinking this, and as I'm hoping that Karu can somehow forgive him, there's a part that happens when Akiva basically went against his own people in order to save Issa for Karu. So she acknowledged that he basically made the sacrifice for her and was trying to gain her trust back and gain her forgiveness for him. So obviously we have this kind of sad overtone tension type deal thing with Akiva and Karu not talking to each other, and then comes the part where Hazel dies. Oh my goodness, I had to reread that paragraph like 3 times because I could not believe that he was dead. I mean, besides Karu, he was kind of like my other favorite character. He was an angel, but he was so lighthearted about things, and he brought humor into everybody's life, and he just kind of made the depressing tone a little bit lighter. And then Lyraz, I don't know how to say their names. So his brother and sister carry him to Karu in hopes that she can bring him back, but they didn't preserve his soul in the thurible, so she can't. It was so heartbreaking when Karu goes to Hazel's body and she realizes that his soul is no longer there, and Lyraz just breaks down. We're used to seeing her as this like super tough soldier who doesn't really have emotions or feelings besides her kind of love for her 2 brothers. There were actually so many surprises in this book. So then we realized that Jael was kind of hoping for Akiva and them to go and kill him, because it was part of his like diabolical plan to go to the human world and basically turn them against the Chimera so that he can, I guess, rule over Earth. I find it really interesting the way that this is going. It's not only the Chimera against the angels, it's the angels against the Chimera, against a group of Akiva's angels, against the humans who are completely ignorant to the truth. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out, because all of the humans are going to think, you know, that this is some message from God, and they're not going to realize that the angels are bad, because according, you know, to religion, to like Christianity, and the angels are the good guys, but we know that they're not. So that's going to be really interesting to see how like Akiva's brothers and sisters and Karu and her Chimera are going to kind of convince them that Jael and his angels are bad and that they're good. Another thing that was actually really surprising to me was when Karu put Ziri and Ten's souls into Thiago and Ten's bodies. Oh, she put, what's her name? Hayana or something like that. And she put their souls into Thiago and Ten's bodies. That was such a cool plot twist. I did not see that coming. And that was also really smart of her to do that, because she needed all of the Chimera to follow her, and the only way that they were going to do that is if they knew that Thiago was following Karu. So that was really smart. This second book really had like so many sad and just crazy parts. Like the part where Thiago tries to basically rape Karu. What was that? I mean, we knew that Thiago was bad, but I didn't realize that he was that evil. Because being like a bad person is one thing, but being the type of person to go and rape somebody, that is a different version of evil. So for the next book, I'm really excited to see where Akiva and Karu's relationship goes, and how the humans are going to react to the angels coming to them, because obviously we have like really religious people who are going to think it's like the end and that the angels are coming and that it's like D-Day. And we're going to have like other people who are going to want to try and figure out what they want and stuff. And I'm also really interested to see what's going to happen to Laraz, because we know that it's always been her and her two brothers. So now that Hazel's gone, and now that Akiva is going to be like worried about trying to get Karu back. And the number one thing that I hope happens is that Brimstone comes back. I mean, he can't be dead. He can't be. Alright, so this cover. Unlike the first one, she doesn't have a mask, so I feel like it represents her gaining this new knowledge of her past life being magical. So her face isn't completely clean. She has this red paint around her eyes. So the first thing that I thought when I saw that was kind of like war paint. So maybe like she's getting ready for the blood that's going to be spilled in the war, hence the red. Because to me in this cover she looks a little bit confused almost, but in this one she looks more determined, like she has knowledge and knows what she's gonna do with it. And one thing that I noticed that I found kind of interesting was, so this is the first book, right? And on the side here there's a little bit of red, and so in the next book the main kind of color is red. So the side color of the second book is this like yellowish gold, and the main color of the third book is gold. But yeah, I just thought that was really interesting how the colors kind of foreshadowed what the next book was gonna look like, and maybe some meaning behind the colors that I just haven't realized, and is like kind of foreshadowing the plot of the next book. I'm currently reading the final book. I'm about halfway through it. Hopefully I'll be able to finish it really soon. So yeah, that was kind of my rant and discussion of this wonderful book. Let me know what you guys thought about it. What were your favorite parts? What were parts that you didn't like? You know, what do you think is going to happen in the next book? Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.